Hello and welcome back to the But God podcast. And guess what, y'all? It is our 30th episode. We've been here with you guys for 6 months and we are so excited. Just so happy to have you as a part of our But God family. So we're going to spend this episode, Lily and I, just talking about some of our favorite moments, what led us to even start this platform, and how great it has been to share with you, to have our guests share with you, and just this little community that we've created, how grateful we are for it. But as always, we like to start sharing our But God moment for the week. So Lillian, what was your But God experience this week?
So my But God experience was, I think the last time we talked about relationships and the whole communication part of it. And so I was having a little conversation with God about it and deciding, okay, I'm going to put myself back out there and try to get on the dating apps and stuff. And so Renee knows, I just had this conversation with her the other day. I actually had a conversation with someone who was really trying me. He was really trying to sell me on the fact that he believes in God, but he is not what did he say? He's not, it's not popular for him to be, he doesn't believe in being a part of the popularity crew for Jesus or Christianity. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, the But God is that I know God was testing me by sending this person to me, because we were vibing in the beginning, exchanging messages back and forth or whatever. And we had a good chat or whatever. And then I just felt it very strong in me. And that's what I've been doing, is like, I'm not wasting time anymore. It's like, first date, we're having this conversation. Like, ever been married? How many kids you got? You got a job? Do you believe in God? And not God. Let me rephrase that. Do you believe in Jesus? And that was how it happened. And so he was trying to backpedal and trying to sell me on how he believes in God. He's just not into the popularity of Christianity because he lives in North America, where it's popular to be a Christian.
He doesn't just want to follow the trend. He thinks it's like a trend.
Right. And I was like, bro, Jordans are trends. Jesus is not a trend. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of went back and forth, but I knew it was God. I knew it was God, like testing me to go off of what I asked in prayer to show me signs. Because I ask God every time I get on these dating sites to help show me signs, to weed out the ones that's like that big X, like over. Before, like I said, I would entertain, I would take on a project, I would give him the benefit of the doubt. Well, no more, no sir. And that was what he was trying to get me to go with. And I'm like, sir, this conversation is over. It was nice meeting you. I'll pray for you, but yeah, gotta go.
Yeah, I commend you. It's hard out here. We've talked about it on previous episodes. Dating is so hard right now, and I don't recommend it. It's the worst fit of them all. Okay, somebody they were talking about on the podcast I listen to a lot. Here's the Thing with Kevin on Stage, and what's his name? Stephon Curry's parents are getting divorced. I think the dad cheated or something like that.
What?
And they were like, look, sir, there was a single guy that wrote this long tweet, like, it's not any better out here, okay? Dating is this and that. Like, it's the worst hood of them all. Stay where you're at. Like, stop trying to look for something. Grass ain't greener on the other side.
There ain't no grass on the other side, people.
Grass is dry. It's withered up.
Brown dirt.
So listen, it's hard, especially when you have certain morals or certain things that you require in the person that you are seeing. It's hard out here. Okay.
It's hard. It is tough.
And because of that, a lot of people do compromise. So I commend you for not compromising and standing true to what you require, so.
Right. So that was my butt God. So what was your butt God for the week?
It's been a different week for me. I started a new job. So I've been on Zoom calls all day, every day. Fortunately, I have the pleasure or the privilege of working from home. So that's been great. And I guess that's the but God moment. It's just that it's like such a new season for me right now with everything in my life, from career to this job to, the endeavors that we're working on. I just feel like it's since the beginning of fall, you brought our attention to it. And I've really, really noticed that there's been a shift in the season, like literally and figuratively. Mm-hmm. And so I've just got a new mindset, the week before I started the job, I got really low and was really like, I don't know, like the enemy was just playing with my mind about my settling and just like all these different thoughts. And God has just shown me like, no, what I have for you is for you. And this is the season that you're in. And this is preparing you for me to catapult you. I just need you to stand firm. I need you to stay put for now, but keep working. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at. And I'm grateful. That's the but God is just, he shifted my thinking. He's given me a new excitement for life. I feel like everything, that's what it's about. Like even the things, a lot of times God will give you a glimpse of something, or he'll like allow you to encounter something that you might think might be a long-term thing, whether it be a job or a relationship or whatever it may be. But sometimes he just needs to encourage you again. Sometimes he just needs to like show you, okay,
right,
it's all good, like it's all good. So that's where I'm at, and I'm grateful.
Well, that is awesome. Sometimes, like you said, he like needs to rekindle that fire, because sometimes we can let the embers get low.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, time to stir it up, and I'm excited for you. Listen, I told you I'm super excited for you. I know that this is a season. This is your season. This is that Israel Houghton song where he says, it's a new season. It's a new day. Fresh anointing is flowing my way. It's a season of power and prosperity. Okay. It's a new season. Yeah. So that is the song. And when you sing that song, you can't be somber. You are excited. You want to get up and you just want to.
That beat kicks in and it's like, it is a new season.
Yes, it is a new season. Embrace it and welcome it, and you're learning different things now. You're going to learn Zoom calls. They're so great.
This one is great. But this Zoom call
is so great. Yes, we love Zoom calls. But there's so many great things that God has for you in the season. I don't know it all. I can feel it.
I see it, and so that's the exciting part, that God's that mindful of, gives us those little hugs, like you say. Yeah, he's mindful of us. So
yeah.
Man, 30. How do you feel about our 30th episode?
I had no idea, first of all, until you mentioned it. And I was like, what? Oh, wow. This is exciting. This is very exciting. I'm super excited. It's something that I've always wanted to do. If it wasn't for Renee, y'all, this would not be happening, because this technical person, I am pretty tech savvy, but I have no tech patience.
Okay, I get it.
Renee there, she's got all the patience.
But this was your brainchild.
It's like, yeah, I have no patience in the editing of how the videos and all of that come out. So if it wasn't for Renee, this would not be happening. So grateful for her that she decided to come and be a part of this with me when God brought this to me and dropped this in my spirit back in 2020, when I felt so overwhelmed, I think like everyone else at the time, with the media, just the coverage of the media. I mean, especially like Instagram. I remember what happened was I was on a fast from social media for like 30 days, I think, or more than that. And my first day back on social media was the day that George Floyd was murdered. I think that day for everyone, I don't know, for me, it has changed the dynamic and the way that I used to like social media, because it was fun to get on social media And that day when I literally dropped my phone here in my desk, like, I was saying the whole time, get off his neck, get off his neck, get off his neck, and when he died, like, I dropped the phone. I felt like I was going to throw up. I was so sick. I broke into the only anxiety. And I was like, what the heck just happened? And from that point on, we saw the news become even more, fear provoking, mongering, and just you couldn't get away from it. Before it was just on TV, like CNN and, Fox or whatever. But I felt like there's been a shift where now it's like on social media, like you're watching these things now play out on Instagram, on Facebook. Please don't come to Twitter, because that's where I'm not Twitter, to TikTok, because that's where I go right now for fun. But in that, I was feeling like I was really crying out to God. I really thought that the world was coming to an end. I thought this was like a Leviticus kind of moment. I was thinking like, this is the end. I need to start writing and documenting this so that when someone finds my journals, they can understand like what happened to the people that were here in this world. Like my mind was just beyond. And God calmed me down and he was like, you just need to chill out, girl.
Yeah, I got
you need to listen to me. And at that point, he started bringing people into my life, and people were just sharing different stories of how they were being impacted because of COVID, because of George Floyd's death, Black Lives Matter, all of the election stuff with Trump and all of that. Just all of it was just coming through, and people were just sharing, and we were being encouraging one another. And I thought, and then I was praying. I remember God woke me up in the middle of the night and was like, you start a podcast called But God. Because that was the message that everybody, when I was talking to them, they would tell me stuff and they were like, but God, and blah, 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 whatever it was. And I was just like, so when I heard God tell me that, and I said, oh, wait a minute, you're telling me what I've been hearing from people talking. That's what made me reach out to Renee. And I was like, well, who am I going to do this with? I can't do this by myself. And I know Renee's busy, but I said, well, I'm going to pray about it first.
Yeah.
And then I prayed about it and I got the courage to ask Renee. And she was like, yeah, but can we start it in the new year? No, I think she said, first, let me pray about it. She said, first, let me pray about it. And then he came back. He's like, and can we start it in the new year? And I was like, oh, yes, sure we can. Sure we can. Because I think it came to me around this time. It was this time of the year that I had been feeding with it for a while. But yeah. And so.
Because it was February when we were in Florida that we actually
started it.
Yeah.
We started like talking about it because it was like around this time that I came to you, because I actually have it written down in a journal somewhere here. About how it was and the vision that I had seen for the But God. And the vision is still going, it's still tarrying, you know what I'm saying? It's still being built. And the audience, we pray for the audience and the people that are coming on. I mean, we've had amazing people on this show.
Amazing
people, amazing stories. I mean, a lot. I'm grateful that I know a lot of them personally, but not on that level. Like, you know how you know someone on this level, but you don't really know them.
When they tell their story, you really get to know them.
You know, that vulnerability piece, we kicked it off with Lynette, who had her story, which was the heart issue. And then from there, we have just met different people. And I love how now we just realized this was Domestic Violence Month, the month of October. I had no idea. And I do pay attention to that national calendar of the day kind of thing. But I did not know that it was National Domestic Violence Awareness until I think it was Rebecca mentioned it to me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And we had Rebecca, then we had Danielle.
And we talked about relationships.
And and it was just like, look at God.
But God.
But God, right? Only God can make this happen for us the way he has.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the people that have been on this to come here and share. Because I'm seeing them now sharing more afterwards. you know?
Man, it's funny because a lot of the time we just want to like minister to our guests, but
They
we,
do
or
dreams.
to our viewers rather, but we minister to ourselves and we even minister to the guests that come, they minister to themselves as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like
sometimes, yeah.
it's so much, there's so many dynamics to it, and it's so exciting to see. Me, I remember that phone call very well when you called me and brought this idea to me, and for whatever reason I thought that you wanted to do a documentary. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And then you're like, no, it's a podcast. I'm like, oh, even better. That sounds a little easier.
Because I think I did say it as it's part of the but God thing was that I wanted to do like we go up to people in the street and have that
Yeah.
like share with us your but God moment.
Mhm.
But it was COVID, so we couldn't. And so we're doing it this way.
Yeah, and I was, excited about it, and just to see your brainchild, what do you call it? Like your baby come to life, has been really cool to see what how it's expanded beyond just the podcast, but into the journals and to the planners and the coloring books. And, I feel like God gives you an idea, and especially like when you think of business and you think about like business planning, they tell you to have like a 10-year plan or an
Right.
exit strategy. And, to see how the expansion has happened in just a 6-month period,
Wow.
and where it's going from here on out is just really exciting. It's really, really exciting. And you talked about the guests and how, man, we have had some amazing
Yeah.
guests, and most of that as well is you're doing, from just reaching out to people that you know and people that you don't know. One of my favorite episodes was with Gabrielle Nellums, who
Yeah.
gave the testimony of, going to CNN and getting that position with CNN when she did not feel she was ready for it, didn't feel like it was her time yet, but God, and so those type of dynamic stories are what encourage me. And I know it encourages the people that watch and listen as well. And, you always wonder what your purpose is, right? Like you always wonder, like, how is what I'm doing blessing someone else? And that's exactly what this is and has been, is its purpose. This is purpose work. We are able to not only bring others into this this space of vulnerability and safety, but we are also able to come here and do the same and share some of our experiences and how God is working through us and the but God moments that we're experiencing every single week, day in and day out. And so, man, it's been a cool experience. It's hard. I know for me, it's really brought me out of my shell. Speaking of, we're talking about but God moments. And I just was thinking about when you were talking, I was like, my real but God moment, because I've been, like I said, I was down the week before starting the job. And I was like, am I settling, blah, 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 because it's not like my career. It's not something I want to do with my life. However, today we were sharing some of like just a fun fact about ourselves. So I was like, oh, I have 2 podcasts. And I was like, oh, if you don't mind me asking what they're about. So I was explaining, but God, we talk to people who've had amazing experiences, and testimonies. And then I have Name a Better Duo, where we talk about trauma, finances, all these different things. He was like, oh, I can see you being like the next Oprah, like with a whole, what do you say, like a whole network and production.
Hello, Renee Productions.
And he was like, and I can get to say that I knew you when.
Right.
I was like, from your mouth to God's ears, So that was a but God moment, because you can really feel like, you know, first of all, sometimes you get in the job environment and you don't want to share your true passions or whatever, but to be able to do that and get a prophecy, okay?
Right.
And be like, look here, I'm not gonna be here for long. So but not
Right.
only that, but just that, God is like, listen, keep your eye, tunnel vision, keep your eye on the goal, because it's coming. So sometimes he'll use even the least, expected individuals to speak life into you. So then, but God
I
moments, I
love
pay more
that.
attention. Thanks to this podcast, I pay more attention to those moments, to those radical but God moments.
I love that. I love that. I'm always talking about how donkey will use God will use a donkey, right, to get somebody's attention. But I love how he confirmed. the season that you're in by
Yeah.
saying like, I'm gonna make a note to remember that I saw you
Mhm.
before you started out, like you're gonna be the Ava Dunneries and like having your own. She already has a production company, people. It's just in the making, and in due time, in due season, you don't take a seed, plant it today, and it comes into a tree tomorrow. It doesn't happen that way. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen that way. Now, you could, have some miracle grow or steroids or whatever. It's not the healthiest. But in most things, and I hear this a lot with business, 10 years. Minimum's 10 years investment, consistent, showing up, and we've talked about this. You and I have talked about the whole consistency thing, but I just love how God used just to confirm, because the week before you were having that moment of, I don't know, this ain't where I want to be. Because sometimes we want what we want when we want it. And we see other people and they have it. But again, one of the things that I always do is I go back in their social media to the day one posting when their videos were wonky and they were like this big, their little videos, because they had the small little camera or big old microphone that they was holding.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like just see the progress of, now you see they have a team, or lighting is better, hair. I always used to say about Seinfeld, when Seinfeld people started making $1 million, you seen that chick, what's her name, the girl, Elaine. Go back and look at Elaine's hair, people. Elaine's hair prior to the $1 million check coming in.
Oh yeah.
Trashy.
Yeah.
She had dehydrated curls. They were in need. Once she started making $1 million, her curls, you can count them one by one, the coils, and how nice they look. So, small times, little steps, it happens. But I love that God was like, nope, she was having this moment. I'll let you have that moment.
I'm gonna let you do what you do.
I'm gonna let you have your moment. But now I'm gonna show you who I am and what I said, and what my plan is. It's for good. Jeremiah 29:11. We've had 4 or 5 guests on here that have proclaimed that scripture. God is for the good.
Yeah.
Good, the good, the good. It takes a little bit to go through. But in that, you don't know who you're going to meet at that job that may need you right now. That may need God in this moment. And the only way he can or she can see God is through you. So you are on assignment. In the meantime, continue doing your other stuff.
Yeah.
And I just love that, you're not tied down. You don't have any other responsibilities. You got this time and you're using it.
Yeah.
And God is gonna, like I said, you plant the seed today, it takes a little while. But with God, it can be that miracle grow. You keep watering your faith seed, nothing's impossible.
The consistency, that's the key word. It's been a key word throughout these 30 episodes, and I do that often too. Like I hear a lot of people that I follow. I think it's good to have like virtual role models or virtual mentors, and for me, like Issa Rae, Kevin on Stage, I talk about him all the time, but just to see, like you said, the trajectory of their careers. Issa Rae on was it Awkward Black Girl was shot with like a handheld camera that you get from Best Buy, and it was just like not good quality at all. And now she's wrapping up her last season on an HBO show, and it has a million other things she's working on as well. Kevin on Stage, and he says this all the time. He was like, what lacks for a lot of people is that you're not willing to be consistent. You're not willing to put the work in when you're getting 5 views. He was like, there were years when he had responsibility. He was married with 2 kids, but he would continue to put out content when nobody was watching, and when his wife was probably like, look, we got bills to pay.
Right.
Why are you doing that? Go change a diaper or something, But man, that's what it is. And I feel like the same thing goes with this podcast, like we have been consistent because of something that we know is bigger than ourselves, the God thing. And God rewards that. He rewards the diligence. And so I'm excited to see where it goes from here on out. Yeah, like we said, like for me, the guests have been remarkable. So remarkable. Like hearing people share their stories has made me, like I said, I'm very guarded. I'm very like careful and calculated about the things that I say and share. And so to hear others share their testimony because they know that someone else is in the situation that they're in and they don't want anyone else to be stuck there, it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, like you're being selfish and keeping this information to yours, especially when it's something that you've gotten through. It's something that,
Right.
and a lot of time it's something that they're still, overcoming. But it's
Mhm.
like I see the other side. It's like let me go back and pull some other people and like look what's here. Look what's on the other
Yeah.
side of your grief. Look what's on the other side of your pain and your trauma. So it's really helped me to open up and share my testimony because I know that there's people that are going through what I've been through, or will encounter something similar. And so with me sharing how I got through, maybe they can too.
Amen. Amen. I mean, today when I woke up, I was thinking about Pastor Steve, who's someone we had on
Mhm,
here,
mhm,
and I was praying for him and I was saying, Pastor Steve is such a an example of being a soldier for God.
mm,
Man is going through,
mm, mm.
his issues with his health, and he's still showing up for the kingdom of God. Like he is in the waiting room of these doctors' office, proclaiming and celebrating and preaching. He's getting infusions after infusions and different hospital settings that he's got to go to. But he goes and
He's cracking jokes.
he's cracking jokes. He's hosting his own um
Yeah,
sermons and I think he's got his podcast and he does this like Bible studies. I mean, he is so remarkable to me, to see. And that's what I think too is so great about this podcast. It's just not it's like a therapeutic thing as
yeah.
well. For me, it's extremely therapeutic to hear and see people because I can get caught up in my own head sometimes in the
Mhm.
things that I'm going through and thinking it's just me.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only one that's going through. Like I will never forget when I knew that, like, okay, we're onto something here.
Mhm,
When Pamela came on here,
mhm.
and I literally went for a walk that morning and was talking to God because I was, going through my eating and my therapies or whatever, and I was just like, there's no one for me to talk to. No one understands what I'm going through. I have to keep talking to you, God, and I get it. Da, da, da. And I was just like having this moment with
Mhm.
God on the road. And then when Pamela came on, I did not know that she had the similar experience that I had
Yeah,
with fish. Same thing happened to her,
yeah.
the whole, and I was like, so when she was saying it was confirming everything that I was like badgering my fist to God at, like, help me. And here she is, So for me, it's been extremely therapeutic and it has allowed me to hear the voice of God louder.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for it. And I hope that people also, I get people that tell me like your podcast, like I don't tune in all the time, but sometimes when I go on, it's like, I needed to hear that.
Dang.
It's right on time. And I'm like, oh, that's so
'Cause
great.
we get that a lot because we read a lot of devotionals, we watch a lot of
Yeah.
podcasts, or listen to a lot of podcasts. So we get that a lot from other people. So to be that for others now, it's like, wow. Same thing. Like when Pamela came on, she to me, 'cause we stayed on that Zoom for over 3 hours
Yeah.
talking before and after to her. And she just provided so much confirmation for me as well. And just the importance of like what you put in your body is medicine, and like I feel that's such a underrated topic, because it's not popular, as your
Great.
old friend would say.
Right.
It's not popular because people want to eat what they want to eat,
Right.
like food is therapy for me, it can be.
Right.
So like to hear that confirmation of like you need to be mindful of what you eat, that can actually impact the rest of your life. That was, man, like that's what the kind of stuff I want to do here, on whatever platform I'm a part of. Educate people in a way that they're not hearing on a regular basis so that they can be better and live longer, healthier lives, like live good lives. That's physically, that's mentally, that's spiritually. And I think that's what the But God podcast does, is like helps people open their eyes to how they can live a better life in all, like in everything. And yeah, like that episode for me was one of the ones too that just was like, yes, this is what it's about.
She really, like, I mean, I think I told her in that after podcast, like, like, Pamela, seriously, I don't want to say shut up, but it's like, shut up, because like, I can't believe you're saying everything that I was talking to God about. Like, where were you? Were you like in the bushes, like when I was walking this morning? Because you are verbatim hitting me with stuff. And, I feel like it's in those times. And I think at that time I was in a really like dire state.
Yeah.
And that's when God, like, you had your low moment the week before, right? And so it's like, that's when God is like, no, I'm gonna really shake you up and let you know, like, I'm listening, I'm hearing you. Something happened to me this week too, that I didn't say a prayer out loud, but I thought it in my head. I thought about something, and then God did something to answer it. Like, he had somebody like call me and say something, and I was like, I don't remember saying this out loud.
Wow.
I did think it. Like, wow, because I don't know about you. Sometimes I feel like if I don't speak my prayers out loud, you don't really hear them. So sometimes I'm like, okay, I gotta speak my prayers out loud. But I'm really excited for the podcast. Like, it has helped me develop things that I didn't know were in me.
Like designing skills. Okay.
I did not know that was.
We usually wait till the end of the podcast, but like these things right here, first of all, like the thought and the idea, you like are a creative genius. Go ahead and receive that, because you are, and to like see these come to life. You have this idea, and when Lillian has an idea, she does it. Okay. She doesn't sit on it. Like, she does it. And to see them like pop up on Amazon, and I can go order it on my Amazon Prime and it comes here. It's just like, whoa, and so I'm
really proud of myself for this.
I am very proud of you. And like to witness it has motivated me. Like, it's really, really motivated me. Like, man, if you have an idea, do it. And there's no excuses, just get it done. Like, that wasn't something you've done before.
Never.
A notebook before and a planner, and like, that's not an easy task, but you figured it out, you researched and you did it. And here they are sitting here on my desk, and sitting on your desk and the desk of our other supporters who have that. I was at my best friend's house and she has it in her office, like propped up. So
it's so cool. I think it's so cool. Yeah.
But I feel like creativity, like people want to, it bothers me when people say I'm a creative. Everybody is a creative to me.
Correct.
Everybody was designed to create. Whatever your creation is, that differs, but we are all designed to produce something, and to see the fruit of whatever it is that you produced is like the biggest, it's the best feeling, So yes. I think that's another thing that can motivate people too, is like, don't sit on those creative ideas that you have. If you need to team up with someone, if you need to Google, if you need to whatever it may be, YouTube, do it, because man, the rewards are endless. Even if it doesn't sell out, even if it doesn't, which I know they will, but it's more about the fruit of it. It's more about the completion of it. And I still have that scripture written on my bulletin board. So I see it every day, because what is the scripture? I want to read it.
2 Corinthians, right? Like 8:10 or something.
It is. But yes, it's just the completion of a thing, man, is just, and that's how I feel about the podcast. Like we prayed about it, we talked about it, and here we are seeing it come to life. I really do want to pull that up, because it's just good, and it's what we're talking about. Is it first or second?
Here it is. It's 2 Corinthians 8:11. You want to read it?
You got it.
So it says, but now finish doing it also, so that just as there was the readiness to desire it, so there may be also the completion of your ability. I'm sorry. So there may be also the completion of it by your ability. I think I'm dyslexic. I read things backwards sometimes.
I do that all the time too. I want to read it in the NIV because I think it's a little easier to understand, but it says, now finish the work so that your eager willingness to do it may be matched, may be matched by your completion of it according to your means.
Yeah.
You know what it feels like to have an idea and you're like, oh, I want to do this thing. I want to do this thing. But you want to match that excitement with completion, with doing the thing, you know? And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the scriptures and one of the confirmations that has stood out to me over the course of these 6 months and what I feel like we have been able to accomplish. So thank you, God, for this but God moment and this but God experience. It's been like an ongoing experience. And I'm just excited to see where the next 6 months and the next 6 months will lead us.
I'm excited too. I mean, I never thought that I could create, like you said, you know, I was one of those people that didn't think of being a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized if I'm made in the likeness and image of the creator of the world, then it has to be in me.
Yeah.
You know, just like my mom has a green thumb. I'm my mom's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So why, you just have to put the time in to cultivate, you know, that skill, to develop that muscle, to develop that, you know, skill or whatever. And so it was really cool for me to sit down and like put the work in and figure it out. Even like with school, as much as I complain, I don't really complain that much about it, but as much as I'm like, oh,
you don't look forward to it.
I'm like doing these projects and writing these book reports and having to do these presentations after working a full-time job to still sit. And I work from home. So I'm sitting at the computer from probably like 8 something to sometimes 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. The other day I was here till 2 a.m. because I was working on a project for school. And so, you know, just like, but to see like the planner, and I use my planner, and I'm just always excited, like, wow, I made this.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, and one of the things in the past was, and I think I shared with you, is I've worked for people before where I've made stuff. Mm-hmm. I've helped create things, but it was just my job. Mm-hmm. I never thought that it was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was my job. That's what I was being paid to do. That's what I do. Until I was working at this company and we did a whole like 26 videos we had to create and film, like I think in 2 or 3 days or something like that. And it was a lot. It was a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, getting things done, getting everything ready prior to it, and then the day of, you know, doing it. And so I remember it was around Christmas time. It was right before Christmas. So, you know, Christmas already is hectic as it is, you know, you're trying to get things together for the holidays. And I remember after we finished, my boss at the time, she came to me and she was like, I want to say thank you. And she was really good about expressing to me gratitude and appreciation for my work. Yeah. Which my previous employers, they weren't that good about doing. They weren't very good in acknowledging me and praising me. And that for me is one of my love languages. Like, just, you know, say thank you, or buy me a little something that says thank you, or, you know, something like that. Affirming, you know. And so when she came and she was like, I just want to tell you, thank you so much. And I was very much I don't receive compliments well. So I'm always like trying to brush it off. And she like grabbed me by my arms and she was like, I need you to hear me right now. And she like, look at me. And I was like, she's like, you did amazing. Without you, this would not have happened. And I'm like, she's like, do you hear me? And she's like shaking me. And I'm just like, yes, I hear you, but I need to go do other things right now. And that was always my mind. On to the next thing, on to the next thing. She's like, I need you to take this in. Yeah. Be present. And so that always sat with me. And so even when I was doing the Buckeye planners and they came in the box that first day, you were the one was like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting. And I was like, I'm not, wait, I said, okay, I have to take this in. I have to take this in and be like, I created this. This is exciting. It's okay. I think what it is I always have affiliated with celebrating me as being conceited or self-promoting or, like, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's actually very healthy for me to be like, I'm proud of myself. Who was it? Oh, it was Rebecca, right? I think, no, it was Danielle. Danielle was on here last time, and she said something like she's proud to celebrate that she is, fearfully and wonderfully made, and all that in a bag of chips and a quart of water if you want to add to it. Like she was happy to celebrate herself, and I think for me, I know I was always thought like, I need to stay behind. I need to lower myself and not. Yeah. And so now I'm like, no, like I created that and I'm really proud of myself. And I have to tell myself, be proud of yourself, high five, proud of yourself.
And we've talked about it before. That's one of the things God has really been working on, I think in a lot of us, because we talked about it in our devotional yesterday, is just learning to stop and celebrate.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we are like trained to not celebrate, to just what's next, moving on to the next.
Yeah.
And I think that's even intentional. We were supposed to have a guest this week, but God said, no, I want you two to get on here and celebrate your 30th episode.
Who knew?
We wouldn't even realize it was. I just happened to like, oh, what are we talking about? Oh, this is our 30th episode. So
yeah, this is so cool.
It's so like God,
It's so God to be intentional with the details.
With the details, exactly.
Letting us know.
Celebrate. So everyone go celebrate, whatever it is. If it's something small, you woke up early today, you worked out today, you cooked this morning, or celebrate. Okay.
All of our things need to be celebrated. I think we shared about the last time I always use the football analogy about you never see a stadium, nobody celebrating. They make that touchdown, or obviously the stadium goes crazy, but they get to that first down, they gotta go 4 of them. They get to that first one, they are on their feet, losing their minds. Okay. So it takes little steps. And I love that it says, sometimes I don't like that it says downs because it's almost like a negative thing, but you fall down, you get down, but they get back up again. And they go on to the next one and they come on down, but they're celebrating it. No matter what, they're still celebrating it, And I think for us, for me, and for you, it's just such a good reminder to be like, all of the things that we do need to be celebrated. Every step of it. God doesn't have a measuring stick on sin, right? Like sin is just sin.
Yeah.
And it's not a white lie. There's no colors in lies. Like it's a lie. There's no color. Like the only thing in the Bible that's colored is when Jesus talks. It's in red, usually in some Bibles, not in all of them. Maybe it's just a King James, but there's no color in that, so it's like, you should celebrate the little things because God wants you to celebrate them, because to him, everything is the same size.
Yeah, there's no big or small lie. There's no big or small celebration or accomplishment. I'm not saying you need to go out and, do anything lavish. I mean, if you want to, you can. But just like pat yourself on the back,
Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back. It's okay.
Do that.
You got up, like you said, this one. You got up, you went to the gym. High five. You had a donut today because you wanted to. High five.
Or treat yourself to a donut. Go celebrate.
Right, like high five. It's okay. It's all good. Like the little things. And that was the thing about the but God. Like some people, when I talk with them, they're like, but I don't have anything big that's happened. I'm like, hold up. Every day something has happened. And I know you and I struggle sometimes when we come on here.
Yes. And
that's why the journal came about, because I would be struggling to remember my but God moments for the podcast. And so it's made me become intentional to like, today, Lord, thank you for when you did this for me. And, you showed me favor with this person, or I needed a quarter and I couldn't find one, but there was one underneath front seat of my car, like, but God, thank you.
Okay.
Told me to look under there. You know, or it's little things. It's not anything major. No one has to, like I try to tell people, like, your story is your story.
Right.
And there's so much to it. And there's so much that God can do to it. Whether it's someone like Lynette, that she had a major life-saving heart transplant kind of situation happen in her life, you know, or someone like
Job.
like a job, right? Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't know, like your story, Renee, you're sharing with your situation with the job. You don't know who's listening and who's watching you on social media. Hold on. Let me just say that Miss Renee here, as much as she doesn't promote the things that she's doing, she does a lot. You know, she has the Name a Better Duo, which is on Instagram. She has a show streaming from a Name a Better Duo on Roku, and I can't remember the name of that network, but if you follow us, you'll see that it's there.
It's okay.
She has her YouTube. She has a active wear line that she has with, I have my sweatshirt in the back here. She's got hats, she's got fanny packs. So Miss Renee here has also been extremely creative behind the scenes in her other ventures that she's doing. And this is what it is to have like-minded people. This is what it is to have iron sharpens iron, because she keeps me on my toes. You know, she keeps me to say, well, I wonder how I could do that. Or, you know, hey, how did you do that? Or I'll send her something and she'll be like, oh, I found this and we could do this like this. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Or, you know, and so it's such a pleasure to have people that are in like-mindedness with, you know, and that's what I think this podcast has done for me. And then I think for the audience, it's just to help them to see that some people are not proclaiming Christ, like banner wearing or, you know, something like that, pretty private, maybe some of them. But now they've been talking about it. They've been on this podcast and they shared about it. You know, Gabrielle was a huge thing that came up on in LinkedIn. I just saw her. I don't ever hardly go on LinkedIn because I'm not looking for a job. So I'm like, I'm not going to LinkedIn. I don't need LinkedIn. But I happened to go on there. And there she was, front and center. And she said, but God. And I was like, that girl needs to be on this podcast. And I reached out to her and to hear her story, you know, and to be, you know, like, oh, wow, this is so God in the details of things, you know, and it's just great to see how he puts us together because we're reaching out. Renee got to go and work on a set recently. I know she didn't share this, but I'm telling you, she got to go and work on a set in DC for a show. And she could tell us about it a little bit later. And she had this experience and she met people, and her production company, which she doesn't talk about that either. I forgot to tell you, she has a production company, people. She has a huge production company called Renee Productions. And she's doing things. She has TikTok. I told you about TikTok. I need to get with her and we're going to get together on Saturday next week, she and I. She doesn't know this, but she's going to know it now. She's going to show me how to do some TikToks because I don't know how to do
some. Come on.
You know? But Renee is extremely, extremely talented. I just love her mind and how she can see things and she makes them happen. So that was another reason. Before I met Renee, I wasn't doing all this stuff. I was doing it for other people. Renee was doing stuff. Renee was the one that told me to start a blog. Renee was the one that was pushing me, you know, you could do it. You do your own blog, write your own blog, write your own YouTube. You know, you could do it. You could do it. And I was like, no. And then I did. And then I would bother her. Can you read my blog to make sure I don't have any spelling or grammatical errors? You know, so Renee has, you know, my point is to say that you got to get yourself some like-minded people.
Yes.
But God is a like-minded community. We all are all about the message of spreading the good news. If you are a follower of Christ, that is one of the major things that God like deemed us, you know, like go out and spread the good news, the gospel. Go and make disciples. Anyone and everyone can do it. That was one of the things that I when I share with people, they're like, oh, well, I can't share my story. Why not? No, not only pastors are the ones that bring people to Christ. We are called to be disciples. We are called to be the evidence and the reflection. We don't know who on like Renee's job, who's going to see God in Renee. Like I said, I really believe there's timing for everything. You don't know who needs God in this time. For me, I realized the other day, that was my but God moment. I realized the other day, I had prayed for a long time to be a part of a team, because I've worked for a lot of entrepreneurs, just one person and me.
Yeah.
And when you work for small business, you do a lot of work. And I prayed to want to be a part of a team. And so I remembered the other day here, I was doing my makeup, I was going out, and I remembered, man, because we're doing this Bible study. Renee has us doing the Michael Todd Relationship Goals Bible study, which is great. If you haven't done it, you need to do it. It's amazing. And so I remembered that I had prayed for being a part of a team. And what came to mind was when I worked in the store that I was working at, prior to that, I was on the decorating team at the church that I go to. And that team of women comes together every Christmas, and they do these jobs, which is decorate the church, and each person has an assignment. And what I loved about when I first got with this team was how welcoming and loving, and it started because of our leader. Our leader is amazing. Like, she has such a heart of gold. I always say that I don't want to work for a boss. I want to work for a leader. And it's different. When you work for a boss, they're all about themselves and really care about nothing. They can come in at a level and maybe not have any experience about what you've done. But when you work for a leader, they've worked their ways through the ranking, and they are going to roll up their sleeves when they need to get in there or whatever. So I was remembering, like, wow, how I was a part of this team. And now I'm a part of an amazing team still at work. And I was just thanking God, because I was like, wow, I remember when I prayed that prayer. And just like how I said, I want to have new friends, like-minded friends. And here's Renee and somebody else that we have on our prayer call that we have, and then our Bible study. So just tell you that don't give up on your prayers. God hears you.
Yeah.
And he has it for you.
He has it for you. And to take the lead, because that was something that you took the lead on. It was something that you desired, and you were like, you know what, let me just send this out to them. And we've been doing it for over a month now. And now we do a weekly prayer call as well. And it was something that God put in you, and you took the lead. And that's what you talk about, being a leader. It's not just on the job, it's in everything. And like you said, it's so important to have like-minded people around you to push you and to motivate you, because a lot of these ideas we would sit on if it weren't for each other, affirming one another and saying, you've got this, do it. No, right. You have this idea, let's do it.
Yeah, so let's do it.
I think that we need to all evaluate and take, inventory of the people around us, and just make sure that they are those type of people that are sharpening us, and that we are doing the same for them. That's how you want to get to where you want to be in life.
It's most important, like I said to us this morning in the devotional, I said, doing inventory is extremely important. I'm definitely all about addition and multiplication. If you're about division and subtraction, see you later. I don't need a huge network of people. Small is fine for me, as long as we're building one another up, and we're respecting each other's boundaries, and we're respecting each person's beliefs and values, and we're helping. Like, you showed me with the blogging when I first met you that you were doing the blog and stuff, and then you were doing YouTube, and I was like, man, I always wanted to do it. And you would always tell me, because I would send you text messages when you were in Cali, like, then we would have these text messages, and we would do Marco Polos back and forth. And
that just popped up on my phone today. I was like, oh man, we haven't done Marco
Polo. We haven't done that in a while. And I was just remembering, like, it's from those things that you would say, like, you should do a blog. And I'm like, I'm not doing a blog. I'm not doing a blog. You're like, Lillian, you need to do a blog, whatever. And so, just to see that happens, and now to be where we have the Black God podcast, where I believe it is a ministry in a different capacity. And I've shared with you on your whole thing, like Tyler Perry talks about, he was told that he was going to be a pastor. And he was like, I'm not, he left the church and whatever, but he's still doing it. He's still preaching, but in a different form. And we have to understand that with time, not everything looks the same anymore. How I parent is going to be different from how my son parents, is very different from how my parents parent. And that's great. That comes with growth and evolving, and times are changing. Who would thought that people would be working from home, like in the capacity that where people are working from home?
A lot of people.
Like, who would have thought that? I remember years ago when I really wanted to work from home, the guy, he wouldn't let me work from home. But now it's a part of the culture. It's where we are right now, and technology has afforded us this ability. And so when Jesus says that we would do greater works than he, it wasn't until I was reading our Bible study that I got it. I was like, this is what he's talking about.
Yeah.
This is what he's talking about. It wasn't that we were going to do greater works in the form of raising people from the dead and taking mud and spitting on it and putting eyeballs in people's heads. It was that we were going to be able to reach and preach to more people the gospel. He had the largest sermon that he had was 5,000 or 7,000 people, Sermon on the Mount, I think they said. We can reach millions putting a podcast out. Sermons on Sunday now, they're expanding and reach is far greater than having people show up in their building, in these churches these days. So it's just so encouraging for me to see that. I was told a long time ago, I have a ministry for women. I never wanted to believe that. I was like, no, that ain't me. I was told I was supposed to be teaching, and I'm like, nope, that ain't me. But now I'm accepting it. Just like I wouldn't accept the compliments before, I wouldn't accept the affirmation. Now I'm like, I am receiving these words because you know what? God is speaking, and he speaks to me, and he's speaking to others now to show me, like, I told you, I told you, and so I hope that people take time and know that God hears your prayers, whether you speak them out loud or not, and he knows your desires of your heart, and he wants us to be in relationship, and he wants us to, that was the one thing that he said in the Bible. It is not good for man to be alone. If he wanted us to be alone, he would have just created Adam, and that was it. It wouldn't be none of us.
That's it. This is really good. This has been, it's been exciting to reflect and show gratitude. God, we are thankful. Okay.
We are grateful.
And I think this whole episode was our gratitude. We usually wrap up with a gratitude moment, but this whole episode has been just that. Like, God, we are so grateful. And we just hope that you continue to watch with us, share with your friends, share with family and those who could use. Everybody could use it. So go ahead and share it so that we can continue to bless people and help them recognize, but God, he's in every single moment. So
absolutely. But God is in everything. It's like corn is in everything. God is in everything.
Exactly. So thank you guys, as always. Like we said, Amazon, we got the books, we got the journals, we got the planners. So go ahead and check that out. I'll link that below, and continue to spread the word. Rate, like, review, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all the good stuff.
All of that good stuff.
I'm Renee Nicole.
And I'm Lillian.
Have an amazing week.
Thank you.